Tough act to follow. Good afternoon. The Call Buildings and Grounds Committee to order. I'd also like to welcome our new member, Ken. Thank you for being with us. A few action items for the agenda today. Hello. There. All right. Action items on the agenda today: request for naming a space at the Forum Hotel, demolition of a structure at Wise, and approval of the 2025 major capital campaign. Now, with respect to the major capital plan, the committee has reviewed proposed changes to the plan. We did this at our March meeting. So today, Colette will focus on a few changes that have been proposed since March when she presents this item for our committee's consideration. At that time, she'll answer any questions. And after we address the action items, Colette will share her report, which will include a couple of highlights of our robust and award-winning capital campaign and program that we just heard about. Now, I'm going to apologize to our donors and the board. I've never been good at names, and we are going to have a naming opportunity for the Scott C. Beardsley and Claire Colette.
Dufournet.
She's over here.
There we go. Pardon?
Colette's over there.
I'm here.
Oh, Colette, there you are.
He was pointing.
So, I apologize because Claire Dufournet,
That's right.
am I getting it?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the proposed name for the event space at the Sands.
Shall I take it, Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
Mr. Chair.
We practiced this, and I flunked.
All right, thank you.
So, we're going to go ahead and get started with the first action item, the naming of the event space at the Forum Hotel and the Darden School of Business. I'm going to turn it over to Colette.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. So as the chairman indicated, our first action item is a request to name L'Orangerie and Terrace, which is an event space at the Forum Hotel at the Darden School. The request recognizes philanthropy from the Melville Foundation and UVA alum Harry Byrne III. Mr. Byrne and the Melville Foundation would like to name the space in honor of Dean Scott Beardsley and his wife Claire. The Kimpton that runs the hotel will continue to market the space as L'Orangerie and Terrace. However, we'll put a plaque in the room that will signify that the room is named in honor of Scott and Claire. So we bring this forward for the committee's approval.
Are there any questions? So could I have a motion to approve the naming we've just heard?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Now, the demolition of the Center for Teaching Excellence building at UVA Wise. And if there is ever a conflict between a building and a purpose, this is it. Note that this is the Center for Teaching Excellence.
Well, it was.
Colette?
All right, Mr. Chairman. This item comes from the college at Wise as a request to demolish a building they purchased in 1987, and it sits on the main entrance road into the college, and as you can see, is not a very attractive site. It is the home of it was the former home of the Center for Teaching Excellence. Hasn't been used since the pandemic, except for storage. And I think I don't have to tell you that in order to retrofit this or rehab this for any useful purpose, the cost would not be worth the benefit. So the college would like your approval to demolish it.
Thank you, Colette. Do we have a motion to approve the demo? Second? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
could I suggest that maybe we save a couple boards so that the rector could give us all a piece of the
No.
wood like he did a few years ago out of his generous?
Where's Donna? Donna, can we save a few pieces? Okay.
This place is actually more significant than you think. That it's the former site of Jim's Minute Mart, which was very famous in Wise County many years ago. And it was the place where I bought my first legal six-pack of beer.
So,
Can we put a plaque
so Marvin, do you think we can sell these boards to,
I'd like to have a revote. Please.
yeah, we need to sell these boards to people of Wise. It'd be great. Or maybe Marvin, you want to pick it up and move it over to your house?
So our final action item is consideration of the 2025 major capital plan. Colette will briefly review the annual capital plan process. Then she's going to provide an overview of the proposed 25 major capital plan with a focus on changes. We've seen this once before. There are some pretty significant changes. So I'm going to turn it over to Colette.
Okay, thank you. This slide just reflects the process, the internal process. We start this back in September, and it ends hopefully today with your approval of the plan. We are in those last two orange boxes on the far right. I will say that what's kind of developed since March is actually, the first 2 quarters of the year seen some real financial challenges, particularly as information and edicts have come down from Washington around federal research grants, et cetera. So the university is looking very carefully at all its discretionary expenditures, and that includes the capital program as well. So we've brought to you the projects we think are the right ones to move forward at this time, but I would assure you that they are going to be examined at each stage of development through initial planning, schematic design, full design, and then construction before they move to the next step. This is a high-level summary of the plan. Right now, we're at about $2.1 billion. We'll finish a couple of projects by the end of this year. That one of the biggest one is Shumway Hall in that $156 million. 3 projects will be removed, and we reviewed these with you at the March meeting, and I'll just give you a reminder of that in a moment. There are about 11 not new projects in the strictest sense of the word. They've been in planning, and some have been authorized by you for planning in the past, but this would be moving them forward. What we are doing, though, is taking a group of about 12 projects and putting them in a bucket that we're referring to as deferred projects, ones that really don't have a good, don't have a fund source at all. I'll use Donna as an example. The college at Wise really relies on the state to fund its capital projects, and it has 5 on their long-term plan, but none of those are really in the mix yet to get state funding. So those are kind of included in this group of deferred projects. So if you net those out of the total, we'd be at about $1.85 billion in value. These are the projects that we want to remove from the plan. Wise requested the 2, the athletics building and the music education building be removed. The Penn Hall renovation was a grant proposal that the School of Medicine put forward, and it was not funded. So they want to remove that project from the plan, at least for the moment. Then this next graphic shows kind of the division of where that 1.85 billion rests. And really, it's interesting that 62% of the program is actually under construction right now. 9 projects will be finished by the end of the calendar year 2025. Just for your information, some of those include renovation of a public safety building, the Olympic Sports Center in athletics, the addition to the Center for Politics, a parking garage at the Fontaine Research Park, and our largest one, Virginia Guest House, which will finish by the end of the year as well. But then moving forward into 26 and 27, we'll finish another 10 projects, almost $1 billion worth of work. Things like the energy plant at Fontaine, the renovation of MEM Gym, the Karsh Institute of Democracy, a parking garage at North Grounds, student housing at the Darden School, the Manning Institute of Biotechnology, and student housing on the Emmett-Ivy Corridor. So you all will be attending lots of ribbon cuttings in the coming years. So now to get into the projects that we're recommending be added to the program. These, the ones that listed on this slide, you've seen all of these in March. I wasn't going to go into the detail on all of them unless you have questions, but rather, as the chair said, highlight the changes since March. I did want to mention, in particular, the Center for the Arts. This is actually, when we brought the plan to you in March, we anticipated being able to finish the design and move into construction. The governor's action that vetoed the state funding that the General Assembly provided for the project has caused us to pause. We hope that it is just a pause, because based on the governor's veto statement, he indicated that our project, along with the 9 other higher education projects that were in the veto, the capital pool that was vetoed, are all important investments, should be made, but he, at the moment, was kind of keeping some cushion and some reserve available in case, I guess, things went south in revenues for the state, which doesn't seem to be the case so far. But he did indicate that he intends to add the projects back to his budget that he presents in December to the General Assembly, and then they would go through the process in the 2026 session of the General Assembly and hopefully be approved by that body again. We know we have some more work to do on the design of the building. We've been working closely with Mr. Now and Mr. Hardy and the president on this. So we need a little bit more money to do additional planning over the course of the summer, where the focus is really on the facade of the building and making it look less, I'll use Alice's term, monolithic, and more like separate buildings for the programs, but still keeping all 3 programs in a single building. So she will be working with the architects over the summer, and will hopefully be able to bring something back that you can all feel good about and sign off on in the fall. Any questions about that? Okay. These are the other projects. The first 2 were on the list in March. 3 came forward from the health system since March, between that period of time. The consumer ambulatory clinic is a tenant fit out. Those of you who were here this morning for HSB heard Jason Lenine talk about this project. Basically, it's the desire of the medical center to move some of its ambulatory clinics out of the main hospital complex and into leased facility that is off grounds, basically, making it much easier for their patients to get access to that care, easy parking, and that kind of thing. And then the other 2 projects, this is the first time we've had community health projects on the plan. So there are 2 of those. One is the expansion of a cancer center that we currently own in Gainesville. That would allow added space for cancer, infusion space, exam rooms, a laboratory, and that would be an internal, tenant fit-out kind of thing. And then the other one is an imaging center, again, renovation, this one in leased space, build out of an outpatient facility. There currently is no freestanding imaging center in the market, so this facility would include things like MRI, CT, ultrascan, DEXA scan, and X-ray. And this would, again, be internal. Any questions about those? Because that's really the added projects. Yes.
The imaging project, the lease term, if we're going to spend $10.5 million, what control do we have vis-a-vis the lease?
Yeah. I don't know what the lease term is. Eric, can you help me out there?
Yeah, it's a long-term lease, and we plan to have it for 15 years from that standpoint, and then there's the opportunity to extend it. Is that where you're at?
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'll also ask Colette, with your permission, do we already have CON for the MRI and CT scans?
Sorry, I was supposed to.
No, it's fine.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyone, Mr. Wetmore, do you have a question?
Yeah, is that wholly owned by us and UVA Community Health? That's not UVA Imaging, is it?
No,
The
no,
joint
that's,
venture we have with all the other
no, this
outpatient
is,
sites? And
this is community health, it's the,
so that'll be wholly owned? Right, gotcha.
yeah. Other questions? Okay, and then just finally, this last slide, another reminder, because these were in March, we talked about planning studies. We like to just inform the board about these kinds of studies because they often result in capital projects that you see later on. These, however, will kind of be put on hold as well, given our financial condition. And actually, the Warner Hall ROTC study, depending on how things play out with the Federal Executive Institute and the public conveyance from the federal government on that's where we had planned to locate ROTC. So that study would not be necessary at all. So that's the plan as updated from March, and we would love to have your approval.
Okay, thank you, Colette. I'll make one observation that there's been a great deal of discussion, phone calls, meetings about this Performing Arts Center. And the obvious need to get our bands and everything out of the basement of Cabell Hall. You can make the case that this might be too large, and a number of you from the day one when we saw this questioned the scale. And I took that and I've had meetings and phone calls. I am now convinced that in order to do this right, having the Performing Arts Center at this level and the art museum attached, there has been some discussion about moving the art museum separate from the big building. To do that is probably going to cost another 12 or 15 million to separate the two. I don't think that justifies having the separation. We had a long Zoom yesterday on this whole structure, and to those on the board that have question the scale. We're either going to have a Performing Arts Center or we're not, and in order to do it, it needs to be at this scale for the region, not just the university. So I've been somewhat concerned about scale after the meeting yesterday. I think I can clearly say to the committee and the full board that this is needed, it's necessary, it is large, but that's part of what this performing arts need is all about. So you'll see more at the next meeting, but we'll move forward on the whole project. And hopefully that answers concerns that have been up for the last couple of meetings. Robert?
All right. John, I just wanted to thank you for your leadership on that. You've been very diligent. You took the concerns of the board at heart. We've had 3 or 4 meetings, maybe 5 meetings. You've asked all the questions. We've asked ourselves the same questions. President, the university architect, Colette, you name it. We had the arts people in there. And John, also, I think you should echo what concerns you had about the art museum and the future of art at UVA and how you now feel good about the direction that we're headed.
I was concerned about, first of all, the museum being attached and maybe limiting any kind of expansion. As a footnote, I have a pretty large art collection myself, so I took great interest in scale and how you handle the storage. You can't display every piece of art you have, whether it's painting, sculpture. So did we plan for adequate storage space? Is there lighting, air, everything that's needed to manage art? To be honest, I was skeptical when we started. I'm confident now that the scale of the art museum, air is right, lighting is right, and over the next few years, we're probably going to have some significant art gifts as my generation ages. So that's what I was focused on, and that my concerns as of the last week or so, and understanding what they designed into this, it works. And the idea of separating it, as I said a minute ago, is $12 to $15 million. It doesn't need to be spent. So I want to, again, to Colette, the architect, to Jim, everybody has put a lot of time into making certain that this big building is going to be done right. So, Colette,
Okay.
folks, this is going to be Colette's.
Let me do my last couple of slides.
You what?
Let me do my last couple of slides.
Oh, you got more slides?
Yes, I have a couple more. I'm
Well, hell, take it away.
well within my time limit, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, keep going. This is great.
Okay. Well, I do have a couple that really kind of wanted to share the results of our team's efforts that support the work of this committee. One in terms of the scope of what we do here, and the other in terms of the quality. So, you know, when you approve capital projects, you're approving the whole, you know, ball of wax, the 100 and some million or the 50 million or whatever, which takes us many years to go from the very beginning of a project to the end. But this graphic gives you a little bit of a sense of exactly how much money we spend every year on capital construction. In fact, this year, I think we're going to hit an all-time high of over $450 million, all of which requires a tremendous amount of expertise and effort on the part of our teams, as well as the external contractors and architects and consultants that we use. So I wanted to share that. It's not all about the numbers, though, because you also then see the results. And our projects often are recognized nationally by national organizations and professional associations. This slide gives you only 2 examples of the most recent ones. The Edgar Shannon Library received a 2025 Palladio Award from Tradition Building in the category of new commercial design and construction of more than 30,000 square feet. Palladio Awards celebrate outstanding achievement in traditional design and work that enhances the beauty and humane qualities of the built environment. Additionally, Contemplative Commons, which I know is sometimes perhaps a little bit of a controversial architecture, but that project received the 2025 Excellence in Architecture Award in the New Building category from the Society for College and University Planning. This is awarded in collaboration with the American Institute of Architects and the Committee on Architecture for Education. The SCUP Excellence Awards honor achievement in strategic, integrated planning that results in exemplary buildings and grounds, institutional success, and careers that inspire. So I think we should all be very proud of those projects and many others. And Mr. Chair, if you'll indulge me, since it is my last Buildings and Grounds Committee meeting, just a couple, yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Mr. Chairman, we need to vote. Susan has reminded me that we did not take a vote on the capital plan.
I was ready for your speech.
Okay, well, I'll do that in a minute.
You've all heard about the presentation on the 25 major capital plan. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Call for a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay.
Colette?
All right, thank you, sir. So this is my final meeting with the Buildings and Grounds Committee as I walk toward my retirement later this month. And I just want to say how grateful I am for the opportunity to have been part of UVA's incredible transformation over the last 43 years. You know, I've spent 32 of those 43 years working directly with the Buildings and Grounds Committee. Over that period, I've had the privilege to work with 15 different B&G chairs, including several of you in the room. I've learned something from each of them as they guided the work of this very important committee. And in that time, we've added 159 buildings and over 9 million square feet to the university's grounds. But I think more important than the numbers is what those buildings represent, the growth of our mission, our people, and our potential. And none of that would have been possible without the amazing teams I've had the privilege to work alongside. Alice Rauscher and her team, in the Office of the Architect have brought clear, thoughtful vision to everything we've built. Don Sundgren and his group in facilities management made that vision real with tremendous skill and dedication. And Ben Hayes, our building official, and his professionals ensured our spaces are safe, functional, and adhere to all of the building code requirements. So I'm deeply proud of what we've accomplished together, and even more grateful for the relationships and shared commitment that made it all happen. We are so lucky to have professionals who care deeply about UVA and give their best efforts every day to live up to the founder's vision. Thank you for your support, the trust, and the chance to be part of something that will serve UVA for generations to come. I look forward now to watching the university grow from out in Crozet or when I drive into Charlottesville. And I want to say that it's really been an honor. Thank you.
Well, Colette, I think on behalf of the committee and the full board, we express our profound appreciation. I knew Colette was the person to go to. Right when I was given this role, I said I need to go drive around and take a look at the university. So we piled in her car. She drove me around. We went and some buildings that were under construction. We looked at building sites of the future. I got totally turned around over in the medical center. And she said, well, you'll learn. And she did. She taught me. You've been here 43 years to see that kind of growth. And without your hand, I doubt it would have happened the way that it did. So again, thank you, Colette, very much.
Thank you very much. It's been an honor.
There's no other business for the committee. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. Why don't we take a 5-minute break, and we'll come back and we'll start buildings and grounds since we're ahead of schedule. Thank you. I'm sorry, we'll come back for
Turn off your mic.
academic and student life, sorry.